So let's begin, because we got some things to catch up, you know. All right. So we talked about modal verbs and yeah, how to put them in a sentence and how to conjugate them. So now what I would like to do is to practice a bit with doing this in exercise 3. I can keep up this schema. So what I want you to do is to read the sentence and rewrite it using the modal verb supplied. Yeah, that's basically it. So make it a modal sentence. I can show you how to do that for the first one, just to get you up to speed. So the situation, Peter is annoying Eric with a lot of requests. So the first one is, the question is, Peter asks Erik, Erik, zet je het vuilnis buiten? Do you put the, or yeah, do you put the garbage outside? And then you have to put in the word willen, so want. So that becomes, Erik, wil je het vuilnis buiten zetten? Erik, do you want to put the garbage outside? So that's it. Remember, replace the conjugated verb with the modal verb and put the other one at the end. Okay? So I'll give you 10-ish minutes. It's now 6. I'll give you until 15. Okay? Or let me know again in the chat if you're done. And or if you have any questions.
Sorry, where did the zetten come from?
Zetten comes from zet. Erik, zet je het vuilnis buiten. Zet here is the, so zet je het vuilnis buiten is the question sentence. So the first word is the verb. The verb is zet. And the infinitive is zetten.
Okay.
It's basically the opposite of what we have been doing up until now, namely making a conjugated verb from infinitive. Alright, couple more minutes. Hope it's going well. Anyone else done already? Or would you like some more time? If you're like almost done, then I guess that's totally fine. Right. Then I think in the interest of time, we'll just start discussing. If you didn't finish the last couple ones, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You'll just see the answers, or you can do them while we discuss the other ones. So the second one, Erik says, ja, dat doe ik. And you have to put the verb zullen in there somehow. So, Catharine, could you do two?
Okay. Is it ja zal dot do?
Yes, you did do the correct conjugation and you put it at the end, almost. But you just need to put the zal at the place of doen, and you can keep the ik in there. So otherwise you did it correctly, you did the correct conjugation and put it at the end. So good. So ja, dat zal ik doen.
Okay.
Yes. That's will I do. Yeah, I'll do that. Literally. Not literally. Correctly translated. So 3. Pieter says, breng je de stofzuiger even boven. Zoe, could you do that? Zoe? I'm not really sure.
Count ja de stoffen
It's a difficult one.
even even boven bronch.
Yes, almost. You don't have to use the T, or you should not use the T at the start here, but otherwise it's the correct conjugation. So it's kun or kan. Je de stofzuiger even boven brengen. So not breng, but brengen. But otherwise very good. You have to make it an infinitive again. But that is kind of difficult. But otherwise, good job. 4. Erik, drinken we eerst koffie? Oh.
What's the translation
Oh,
of
yes,
the
that's a
three?
good question. Could you bring the vacuum upstairs in a bit, for a bit? So, stofzuiger
Okay.
means dustsucker, a vacuum. And boven is upstairs, and even is in a bit or for a bit. Short period of time. All right. 4. Last. Sarah. Sarah, could you do 4?
Yes. Zullen we eerst koffie
Yes, very
drinken?
good. Zullen we eerst koffie drinken? Shall we drink coffee first? So, continue. Erik says, goed, zet jij dan koffie? Zet jij dan even koffie? Dutch people also love to use the word even. Maria. I can't remember if I asked you already, but...
Yeah. So, goed. Zul jij dan even koffie zetten?
That is correct, but it is not the correct verb to use. It says willen, I think. I hope it says willen at your place too. But indeed, if it was zullen, it would be correct.
Oh yeah, I don't know how this happened. Yeah, so wil.
Yes.
Sorry, instead of
Wil
zul.
jij dan koffie zetten? So here, this means, so do you want to make coffee? So you don't say koffie maken for some reason, you say koffie zetten. You put coffee. I don't know why. 6. Erik, ik doe hier altijd alles. And then you have to put moeten in there. Noemi?
Ja. So, hey, ik moet hier altijd alles doen.
Yes, very good. Ik moet hier altijd alles doen. I always have to do everything around here. Peter is a bit of a nagging person. But yes, very good. Good job, guys. So then we optimistically we had a break here. We shall instead directly move on to polite sentences. How do you ask things and be nice about it, you know? So in this very rigorous and formalized schema I devised, where I just put things in a casual or polite and in a formal setting where you would use it, there's of course multiple ways to say something. So let's just start at the top. How do you say hi to people in Dutch? And how do you be nice about it? And when do you use the one or the other? So if you just talk to friends or people you're more casual about, you just say hoi, hey. If you're in a more, I don't know, setting where people you don't really know, or at a nice-ish restaurant, you can say hello. Or if you're in a more formal setting, like a fancy restaurant or something, or I don't know, you're meeting the king, you can say goedendag, which is more like good day to you. So you can see that sounds a bit formal. Asking for things, that's the second row. If you're kind of casual, maybe kind of rude, you can just express your desire and then hope someone caters to you. So you can say, ik wil een biertje. I want a beer. Now that's okay if like for example, the barkeep asks you what you want to have, or bartender, that's a better word. Barkeep sounds like you're in some fantasy bar. So just the bartender, he just asks you, oh, wat wil je drinken? What do you want to drink? And you say, oh ja, ik wil een biertje. I want a beer. That's fine. If you want to be a bit more polite, you can say, oh, mag ik een biertje? May I have a beer? Can I have a beer? And if you're even more polite, then you say, zou ik een biertje mogen? Could I have a beer, please? Good sir. You have to add, of course. No. So, could I have a beer? May I have a beer? Or I want a beer in reverse order. Then, this is a good, useful word to know in Dutch. Alsjeblieft. Maybe you can repeat that after me. Alsjeblieft. And it means both please and there you go, or voila. That might be a bit confusing, but if you ask the barkeep, you can add this at the end of sentences or before the thing you're asking for. So if you're asking, mag ik een biertje? You can ask, mag ik alsjeblieft een biertje? Or you can ask, mag ik een biertje alsjeblieft? So, may I please have a beer? Or may I have a beer, please? Basically. But then, when the bartender hands it to you, they will probably say, alsjeblieft, as well. Which means, here in this context means, there you go, or voila. That might be confusing, but whatever. Question?
Is it? Yeah. Is it also you're welcome? Because sometimes when we say dank u wel, people answer alsjeblieft.
Yeah, indeed. It can also be used as you're welcome, indeed. Alsjeblieft.
Okay.
So many uses. If you want to be more formal than alsjeblieft, for example, you're in a in a place where you would say u, you're in a fancy restaurant, or again, the king. Those are the only two cases in my mind where you would use u. You would say alstublieft instead of alsjeblieft. Difference between je and u. We don't say alsjeblieft because muffles kind of the u, I guess. So we say alstublieft. This is actually a contraction of like 4 words. Well, it means als het u blieft, if it pleases you. It's the literal translation of the thing, but now it just means please. And you can use it in the same context, so as to say please, or as to say there you go, or as to say you're welcome. Then, when the bartender hands you your beer, and you say, what do you say then? If you're very casual, you can say top, super. You say great. Just acknowledge that they did something. You don't say thanks for some reason. Otherwise, you can say dankje, or which is short for dankjewel, which means thank you. Or you can say bedankt, which means thanks. Those are both equally good. Or if you want to be more fancy, you can say dank u wel. Thank you very much, I guess is the equivalent. Then, yeah, I guess I should have a row here for you're welcome. So for you're welcome, you can say alsjeblieft, or you can say graag gedaan, which means I did it happily, or in this very rough, really. So you're welcome is graag gedaan. Or you could say, in a more casual sense, you could say geen probleem, no problem. Geen probleem. Geen probleem, but then this problem with 2 e's. If someone then acknowledges your request, for instance, if you ask, mag ik een biertje? Then the bartender usually says something back to acknowledge that you asked for something and that they want to do it. So if you are the bartender in that case, you could say, tuurlijk, ja hoor, sure, I can do that for you. If you want to be more polite, you can say, jazeker. This is a bit of a weird distinction on my end. All of these kind of are the same level of politeness, except for the last two. So natuurlijk is the long form of tuurlijk. Natuurlijk, tuurlijk. Natuurlijk, naturally, of course. And zeker means sure, literally, but a bit more formal. Zeker means more surely. Nah, that's not right. Sure, but then formal. And then already it's time to say goodbye. So you can say doei, which is a fun word. Doei doei, if you want to lay it on them. If you want to be more polite, this is a very common one. Say tot ziens. Until I see you again. Or you can say fijne avond, good night, or fijne, whatever time of day it is. Usually avond. Fijne dag is probably what you say when it's not avond. So have a nice day. Or you could say, yeah, if you're very dramatically inclined, you could say vaarwel, farewell. That usually implies that they won't see you again, but maybe that's the case. Vaarwel, farewell means, yeah, it's kind of weird because vaarwel in Dutch comes from the verb varen, and wel, which means good. It means a lot of things, but also means good. And varen means to drive a boat or to operate a boat. And in English, there's not a really good word for that. You have sail, but that's for sail. I mean, you wouldn't say, I guess, you'd sail a speedboat, right? That doesn't make sense. But English doesn't really have a all-encompassing verb for that. Maybe if you could be anachronistic, idiosyncratic, you could say, oh yeah, boat as a verb. But that sounds really silly. I boated around a lot yesterday. So that was a sidetrack about boats. Question?
Can I ask
Sure,
a
of
question?
course.
Yeah.
Interrupting my monologue about boats.
Is it? Is Dunkevel always just in one word? Because I already googled many times, and in some sites it's like 3 different words instead of just one
Yeah,
word, and I was
as
just
dank
wondering
je
what's the
wel.
difference?
Yeah, I guess you could do that. I think it's more common with alstublieft. No, sorry, dank u wel. So not dank je, but dank u wel. So dank u wel, I could see
Yeah.
that more often as 3 words. But in most cases, it's 1 word, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, maybe fun to know, in a lot of in Dutch, we also use instead of alstublieft, we use the French word for some reason, s'il vous plaît. But we don't usually say it, but we often write it. So we say see somewhere, some text, and they say see SVP at the end, stands for s'il vous plaît. So, pardon my French, but yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you say see AUB somewhere, that means alstublieft. So please. Acronyms. All right. So that's how to be a little less impolite. Now, how to apply it. So we're already at the time. Sadly, that's what I get with not having a co-teacher. No, this is my fault. Okay, I'll just go through this a bit because this is useful to know how to order a beer in a bar. We'll just go through it together. And usually I would do this with my co-teacher. And usually you would do this exercise then together. But alas, we don't have time and I don't have a co-teacher at the moment. So it will just be me talking to me while I'll move around as to give the illusion of talking to someone else. So if you see in your booklet, it's supposed to be an exercise where you fill in the things and then you do the dialogue with each other. So for instance, first the barkeep, the bartender, greets the customer to say, Goedenavond. And then the guest would usually respond back with also Goedenavond or Goedenavond, you would probably say. And then the bartender would ask, what do you want to drink? You can say, they could say, wat wilt u drinken? Of wat wil je drinken? So literally, what do you want to drink? Or more commonly, what it says here without the will, ignore this. Wat mag het zijn? What will it be? Yeah, what will it be? And then you can ask for wine, or beer, or cola, or whatever you would like to drink. Mag ik een biertje, een wijntje, een cola, een colaatje? Dutch people love making things smaller for some reason. So usually we'd ask, mag ik een biertje, mag ik een wijntje, of mag ik een colaatje? And not, mag ik een bier, of mag ik een wijn? You can't really say that. May I have a beer? That doesn't work in Dutch. You can say een biertje, or you can ask for a specific beer, or you can specify the quantity. So mag ik een glas bier, or een pintje, or een pils. A lot of different words for beer, obviously. People love beer. Then, our ever helpful bartender would then give us our beer and says, alsjeblieft. And we would respond with dankjewel, or dankje. Then they will say, this is useful to know, how much you have to pay. and that usually starts with dat wordt dan and then the number. And they usually say the number as X euro and then X cents. Not the cents, they don't say cents. So say dat wordt dan €2,50 or dat wordt dan 2,50. So that will be 2.50 or that will be €2.50. And then you say probably kan ik pinnen or mag ik pinnen or zou ik mogen pinnen. And pinnen means paying by card. Taken from the PIN code, or no, your PIN, personal identification number or something. Something like that. And we made that a verb. So pinnen means to pay by card. If you say, mag ik met mijn kaart betalen? That sounds kind of weird. Except if you're specifying a credit card. You say, mag ik met mijn credit card betalen? That's probably good to ask specifically. Because a lot of places, as you've probably noticed if you usually use a credit card, don't take credit cards. Like the Albert Heijn. Maybe they do now, but as far as I know, they usually don't. So, mag ik pinnen? Kan ik pinnen? Zou ik mogen pinnen? Zou ik kunnen pinnen? And then they probably say, natuurlijk, unless you're at Accu, I guess, the anarchist bar, it's also closed now, that's just everything. They don't take cards, because banks. And then you pay by card, and that hopefully goes well. And then you say, and then you leave, because, yeah, dankjewel. And then you say, fijne avond. Fijne avond. And that will be that. Yes, we are already quite over time, so I will skip the restaurant part. So there was also, this lesson is a bit too full, as you may have noticed, because there was also still a word web with words related to food and stuff that you might want to know. Okay, someone sent a message. Good. And you were supposed to do this exercise. And there was possibly a quiz. There is no quiz, so you don't miss that. But a bit full. So instead, what I will ask of you is if you want to know any words, any food words, just put them in your head, write them down, and then we will fill them in next week. And if not, I will just give you some food words anyway, because it's good to know some words of foods. The restaurant ordering thing, I could ask you to fill it out yourself. Sorry, I have to leave. Thanks for asking. Yeah, okay. Bye, Lucia. Yeah, maybe you could try filling out this thing, the ordering in a restaurant. The main difficulty is filling in the polite things. So try to fill this in and try to be polite. This is a restaurant, so you probably use the formal one, or maybe the polite one. Okay? Cool. Then, finally, it's your turn. No, another. We have the zinnen of the week, because these are pretty fun. The first one is food related. Helaas pindakaas. Unfortunately, peanut butter. A lot of Dutch people like to say this when they want to say helaas, when they say unfortunately. And then they put peanut butter at the end. Why? Well, because it rhymes. That's the whole reason. So, helaas pindakaas is way more fun than saying, sucks. And then the other one is also one you probably either have seen or you have been asked. Kunnen we apart betalen? Can we pay separately? Dutch people love to pay separately. And if that's not possible, because the restaurant is very busy or something, or the bar is full, some person asks, some person pays, and the other people say, oh yeah, stuur maar een tikkie. Tikkie is an app developed by a bank where you can say payment request, kind of like Venmo, but more tied to your actual bank account, I guess. If you have been in the Netherlands for any amount of time, you've probably sent or received a tikkie at some point. Useful to know, Dutch people love sending tikkies. It's always fun to ask people, I guess, always fun, haha, hilarious conversation starter. But it's fun to ask people what's the weirdest sticky they've been sent, and I think I've been sent one for like 30 cent coffee from a shitty university coffee machine, which was very scummy. I did pay them, but I wasn't happy about it. All right, that is it for this week. Next week, we will tackle plurals, things around your house, which at this time is probably more relevant to know than a restaurant talk. So, what things in your house are called. Very fun. And how to describe things in your house and how to tell the relations between them. So, yeah. I think it's pretty fun. The final exercise is also pretty fun. We have to kind of figure out how to do that online, but I'm sure it will be fine. So, for next week, do your homework, please. Write down some words, some food words that you want to know that we didn't get to, and fill in this thing. Okay? Cool.
Okay.
See you next week then. Thanks for coming. Good luck on your exams.
Thank you, Belle.
Thank you.
Doei.
Thank you. See you.
Doei.
Doei.
Doei.